Our relationship in marriage is the closest thing that we'll experience in the flesh to our relationship with Christ. What the kids get to experience day in, day out is the primary education of what a healthy relationship looks like. They see how a husband and wife solve problems and manage the home, and they see as a mom and dad how they manage their family. Welcome to the Faithful Fathering Podcast. This is Rick Wirtz, founder and president of Faithful Fathering, where we encourage and equip dads to be faithful fathers. Thank you for your time to tune into this podcast. It's a blessing to have the opportunity to talk about my two favorite subjects, our Father and being a faithful father. In this series, we're addressing fathering focus. There's a lot of information out there on fathering these days. A lot of organizations, a lot of blogs, vlogs, and podcasts providing information on how to be the father this society needs. And my encouragement to you is that this podcast will try to always meet you where you are and encourage you on your journey to become a faithful father. In this series, we'll work to provide some input on what I call the 4 key aspects of fathering to help you evaluate where you are and how to move forward on your personal fathering journey. We have already in previous segments talked about availability as a dad and intentionality as a dad. And here the topic is love. Jesus was approached at one juncture saying, what's the greatest commandment? And Jesus responded, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. All you need is love. That's what the Beatles said back in the 60s. Take in this short video for perspective.
All you need is love. It's easy. At least that's what John Lennon wrote and the Beatles sang in 1967. The lyrics went, all you need is love, love. Love is all you need. John Lennon said that the lyrics were deliberately simplistic to try to capture the utopian ideals associated with the summer of love. In life, to love is anything but easy. Yet it is love in marriage and family, in the church and in the public square that builds relationships to help folks navigate through and endure the valleys of life. Love is an intentional decision followed by action. Love as a verb is what keeps all civil in the midst of disagreements, differences of opinions, religious convictions, and even political incorrectness. It is through love that valleys are navigable and chasms are bridged. In Matthew 22, Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Here, Jesus does not refer to love as a feeling. It is an intentional decision followed up with action. In the Gospel of John, he says, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Jesus led by example with love grounded in the truth of his Father's teaching. Then when he met the adulteress in John 8, he says, go now and leave your life of sin. Jesus exemplified love with a call to truth, with a call to return to God's script for a loving relationship. You see, true love is grounded in truth, and truth is grounded in the love of the Father. Jesus lived into the tension of expressing love in truth and then conveying truth in love. The call is to emulate Jesus' example. All You Need Is Love did prove to be yet another hit for the Beatles. A biblical twist on the lyrics might read something like this. All you need is to love others. Loving others is all you need to do. It might not be as musical, but it certainly conveys love as active, not passive. To love as Christ loves, a man needs to make an intentional decision to love his wife and follow it up with action. Start loving in truth and conveying truth in love in your marriage and in your family. Then practice it in your church and in the public square and watch the Lord glorify himself. That's the dad you're called to be, and that's the dad the next generation needs.
When Jesus gave his disciples those two commands, his first one, love the Lord your God, was a summation of the first four commandments Moses gave the Israelites. That is, that there would be no God before the one true God, there would be no idols, the Lord's name would not be taken in vain, and there would be Sabbath rest. When he said, love your neighbor as yourself, he was taking up the last five commands, that you would not steal, you would not murder, you would not commit adultery, you would not bear false witness, and you would not covet your neighbor's stuff. You see, those were two dimensions, what I would call the spiritual and the physical side of the Ten Commandments that Moses gave the Israelites. The commandment in the middle is the commandment that Jesus walked, honoring his Father with every step, every prayer he prayed, every action he took. And that's our command, is to honor our father and our mother. And it is the commandment with a promise that your days would be long in the land that the Lord your God gave you. You see, marriage by design is the realization of God's love in this world. And our job is to live it out. Better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today in our marriage and family. Paul takes this loving thing a step further in Ephesians 5:25, where he says we're to love our bride as Christ loves the church. You know, that means that love is a verb. It is not a feeling. It takes action. You know, Gary Chapman wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages, where he suggests that this tingly feeling kind of love might last 2 weeks into a marriage. It might last 2 years. But as the marriage matures, it does indeed take intentionality and effort to love, to learn how to love as Christ loves. I always say that once we realize we're supposed to die for our brides, everything else pretty well falls into perspective. And that's what Jesus did. Selflessly, sacrificially, he laid himself out for his bride, the church. Our relationship in marriage is the closest thing that we'll experience in the flesh to our relationship with Christ. What the kids get to experience day in, day out is the primary education of what a healthy relationship looks like. They see how a husband and wife solve problems and manage the home, and they see as a mom and dad how they manage their family. These are the things that they can take away, and at the end of the day, it all reflects our personal, passionate relationship with Jesus the Christ. So learning how to love is all about your effort as a dad to move into love as a verb. Step into the responsibility to love well in the home, to reflect the love of Christ, the love he had for his church. You know, there's a story of a pillow in our house. My bride made a wedding gift. She made it 45 years ago. A pillow that simply said on one side, I love you more today than yesterday. And you turn the pillow over, it says, I'll love you more tomorrow than today. I didn't have any idea what that meant 45 years ago. But the Lord's been working with me on this journey to learn how to love as he loves. And that's your job as a faithful father. That's the dad you're called to be, and that's the dad the next generation needs. God bless, Godspeed.